Welcome to Keep It Electric with Tremayne Person, episode 13, brought to you by Sonic Shore. It's Friday, June 23rd, and the Seattle Mariners are coming off of a series loss in the Bronx against the New York Yankees, where they lost 2 out of 3 games. Their current record of 36 wins and 37 losses sits them 4th place in the AL West, 9.5 games back behind the Texas Rangers, who are starting to feel a little heat from the surging Houston Astros. Picking up where we left off last, we're going to start with Game 2 of this most recent series. It was a big bummer, if I must say so myself. Uncharacteristic, but not a horrible start from Luis Castillo. He pitched 5 innings, allowing 3 earned runs and striking out 3. Prospect Johnny Brito for the Yankees was just flat out better in this one. He pitched his longest outing of the season, going 5 2/3 and allowed only 2 hits, while striking out 3. The Mariners didn't get on the board until top of the 8th when Dylan Moore, his first hit of the season, went over the left field wall. Clearly jacked up Moore, basically sprinted around the bases and back into the dugout. Jarred Kelenic hit a sac fly in the top of the 9th, scoring Julio. There were some really bad takes from the umpire in this game, especially towards the end. Teo and Gino, they both got some poor calls, leading to some frustration. Even the last out, you could kind of see the last strikeout. Gino was just kind of sitting there talking to the umpire for a bit before he walked off the field. It looks like they took all that frustration out on Domingo Germán. Jeez. That Game 3 was the definition of a shellacking. 4 solo home runs from the Mariners in this game by the likes of Kolten Wong. Really need to stress that one. Teoscar Hernandez, Ty France, and Cal Raleigh also went yard. The Mariners got right down to business in the first inning. The night before his last out was recorded by Gino, so Gino decided to go ahead and clear the bases with a double in the bottom of the first, which scored France, Teo, and Cal Raleigh. The aforementioned Kolten Wong in the top of the second entered the chat with his first home run of the year, followed by Ty France in the same inning, moving the score to 6-0. Then Teo and Cal Raleigh decided to go back-to-back with Jax in the top of the 4th, moving it to 10-0. All this noise were happening from the Mariners' bats while rookie Brian Woo is quietly pitching a no-hitter through 5. His pitch count was already high when he entered the bottom of the 6th, so unless something drastically changed, a no-hitter would have needed to definitely be a collective effort, but nonetheless, they let him out there for the 6th. He battled it out until Gleyber Torres broke up the no-hit bid, and then Anthony Rizzo launched the ball off the right field wall, which resulted in Wu being pulled and replaced by Ty Adcock, who immediately got Giancarlo Stanton to hit a ground ball into a inning-ending double play. That was a mouthful. The Yankees, they avoided a shutout here. Chris Flexen, he threw a 91-mile-an-hour meatball to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Kiner-Falefa smashed that pitch out into the left field bleachers, moving the game to its final score of 10-2 in favor of the Seattle Mariners. I don't know why, this was garbage time. Let me not get too worked up here. I know that's garbage time, but for me at this point, Chris Flexen shouldn't be coming back out after any inning at this point. We should be happy if he can get 3 outs without giving up a run. Lately, every time he comes out here to start another inning, he's given up 2 runs. And, that just seems to be, quite frankly, what we're getting from Chris Flexen. I don't really see any improvement. I don't know who else we would go to right now. We have some beleaguered arms, some guys who are on the injured list. I assume when Penn Murphy comes back or when Trevor Gott's healthy, Chris Flexen's going to be hanging out in Tacoma for a little bit, fixing whatever's wrong. Anyways, this was an outing that the Mariners can really hold their head high about. The series wasn't really going well for them. I thought for sure, the Yankees were coming in looking for the sweep, so the Mariners made sure that wasn't going to happen. I think a good call out here is for Teoscar Hernandez. whose on-base streak was silenced in Game 1 of the series. He went 3 for 4 with a homer and 2 ribbies. And Colton Wong, who's been silent pretty much all year, going 2 for 3 with a homer, an RBI, and a walk. That's a welcome sight for the Seattle Mariners. Walking out with their heads held high on their way to Baltimore to face the hottest team in baseball right now, the Baltimore Orioles, who are second place in the AL East with 45 wins and 28 losses. Okay, now I want to go on a small little side quest or hot take, if you will. Some of you know I'm from the DMV. I grew up on the Orioles and the Braves. Those were the teams in my market. Those were all I could see on TV. Until I started to get a little older, I learned I needed to stay up late at night whenever the Mariners were being hosted on ESPN. That was my only way to see my favorite players in Seattle play on national television. The sidebar isn't really, that's not the point I want to make exactly. I've been to a lot of Orioles games, especially when Seattle was in town. Camden Yards is a beautiful ballpark and a wonderful place to watch a game. It's no T-Mobile, by the way, but it's definitely high on the list of greatest ballparks. But after I moved here to the Pacific Northwest, I have something I need to get off my chest. And now is the perfect time. Baltimore, hear me loud and clear. Hear this. Whoever started this Maryland has the best crab cakes in the land thing has clearly never had one here in Seattle. Because you're wrong. You're wrong. You couldn't be any more wrong. You're just blatantly lying. Too much Old Bay, too much cream cheese, or whatever dairy filling you want to put in there. There's never enough crab. Never enough. Having a crab cake here will change your life. Having a crab cake at T-Mobile Park will probably change your life. It's delicious. I dare anyone who grew up here on crab cakes, or even just had crab. You don't even have to grow up on the crab cakes. Just have been here and had the crab cakes here. I dare you to get a crab cake sandwich and some crab fries from T-Mobile Park, and then go to Camden Yards. Yes, fly across the country, go to Camden Yards. Or the exact same thing, because they have plenty of stands that do crab cake sandwiches and crab fries. Order them at Camden Yards. I promise you, you won't make it a quarter through that. And that's not because it's a lot of food. It's not because it's a big serving. It's literally because the crab goodness here in Seattle, you might just throw away whatever crab stuff they put out there in Baltimore. It's really not okay. It's just so good here. Ask Adam Frazier, actually. Adam Frazier left Seattle. He split. He went over to Baltimore. Ask him how the crab cakes taste. I guarantee you he's going to say, you're right, they're not as good. Or he's just going to say, dude, I don't eat that stuff. He probably doesn't. I say all that to say that Adam Frazier's probably going to hit 2 or 3 home runs in this one. One thing I need to say about Adam Frazier is a lot of Seattle fans need to cut the guy some slack. He got killed in the shift last year. He made such great contact that would have fallen in the outfield this year. Most of his balls were hit, and a second baseman was just chilling out there in shallow right field. It was a good career move for him to go to Baltimore. His numbers are still slightly down, his OBP is down, his batting average is down, but he's actually on pace to hit the most home runs he's hit in a single season in his entire career. The most he's hit is 10. He did that in Pittsburgh twice in 2018 and 2019, and he already has 8 halfway through this year. So Adam Frazier's a stand-up dude. I actually like the guy. I hope he doesn't, pull out a Mickey Moniak or, Billy McKinney for the Yankees. I hope he doesn't actually become the key reason for why we lose. But he's a good guy. So, anyways, the show's not about him. Let's move on here. Taking the mound for game one in Baltimore, we have Logan Gilbert, and he's matched up against veteran right-hander Kyle Gibson. Gibson isn't known to be a strikeout artist, but for the month of June, he's averaging over a strikeout, slightly over a strikeout per inning. So far in June, that's doubling his strikeout rate from May, actually. He's allowed only 8 earned runs over 17 innings and a third. He limits hits and he limits the long ball. He's only allowed 1 home run this month, and he only allowed 2 last month. So really, I think he allowed 4 in April and then only 3 home runs since then. So, he keeps the ball down. Baltimore's a good place to hit, so some solid contact can really change that stat. But again, it's going to come down to patience at the plate for us. That's really the name of the game. Gilbert, on the other hand, is looking to put on a complete outing. Only one of his last 4 starts he's really been able to make it out of the 6th inning with a quality start, which is somewhat becoming an expectation from him. I would say that. He's been hit around a little bit recently. One thing the Orioles have been able to do well lately is hit. They're sitting in either 5th or 6th place in the American League in almost every statistical category on offense. They don't strike out a lot. They're quick on the base paths. They make solid contact, and they're actually ahead of the Seattle Mariners in the power department, aka home runs. So really, the Mariners are going to want to come correct in this one. I do think if we have some solid contact with the ball, we have a shot of it leaving the park. I think this series and this ballpark is built for guys like Jarred Kelenic, Teo, and Gino. I would keep an eye out on those guys. Some potential big hits to come from them, especially if some players are on base. Some situational hitting would definitely be the key. Lastly, Julio Rodriguez has officially entered the Home Run Derby contest. I'm super excited to see him. Hopefully he can take home the trophy in the city of the team that he represents. There's a short on the Mariners homepage of him walking around New York asking people if he should enter Home Run Derby. It's truly a fun watch. If you're sitting at home in Seattle watching the game tonight, just remember, Baltimore crab cakes are terrible. Keep it electric. Go Mariners.